Uh, Underage children shouldn't be putting anything in their lungs. Pot smoke or cigarette smoke or any other kind of smoke, if they can help it. It's not.
Willie Nelson, one of country music's most iconic voices, a rebel outlaw, and a man whose songs have defined generations. For decades, his music has spoken to the heart of America, from the lonely highways to the crowded honky-tonks, from quiet heartbreaks to joyous celebrations of life. But now, as the headlines break with the latest news about this living legend, fans everywhere are asking, what's really going on with Willie Nelson? At 92 years old, Willie remains as enigmatic as ever. His signature braids, warm smile, and timeless classics like On the Road Again and Always on My Mind have made him more than just a performer. He's become a cultural symbol of resilience, independence, and authenticity. Yet the years have not been easy. Health battles, rumors of retirement, family struggles, and the weight of carrying a legacy that spans over 6 decades have left many wondering whether Willie is finally reaching the end of his long journey or preparing for yet another surprising comeback. The headlines swirling today are stirring, both worry and admiration. On one hand, fans fear the inevitable, time catching up with the man who seemed unstoppable. On the other, Willie continues to defy expectations, showing up on stage, guitar in hand, as if music is not just what he does, but who he is. So what is the truth behind the latest about Willie Nelson? In this story, we dive deep through the challenges, the triumphs, and the emotional moments that define where he stands today. Willie Nelson has never been the kind of man to slow down. For more than 6 decades, his life has been lived on the road, guitar in hand, voice echoing through smoky bars, massive stadiums, and everything in between. Yet as he steps into his 90s, the harsh truth becomes impossible to ignore. Time eventually comes for everyone, even for legends who seem immortal. In recent years, Willie has faced a string of health battles that have left fans deeply concerned. Breathing problems forced him to cancel several shows, and whispers of frailty began spreading across the country music world. For a man whose voice and presence have always been so strong, seeing him struggle on stage, even briefly, was a heartbreaking reminder that even icons are human. Headlines began speculating on his health, some even suggesting that retirement was inevitable. But if there's one thing people should know about Willie Nelson by now, it's that he has never followed the rules or lived by anyone else's expectations. Despite the setbacks, Willie has refused to let go of the stage. Again and again, after every health scare, he has returned to the microphone with that same fire in his eyes, reminding fans why he is not just a performer, but a fighter. When asked about retirement, he brushes off the idea with a smile, often saying that music is what keeps him alive. To Willie, stopping would mean giving up the very thing that defines his spirit. Beyond his health, Willie has faced the emotional toll of watching old friends and collaborators pass away. From Waylon Jennings to Merle Haggard, the outlaw country movement has lost many of its pioneers, leaving Willie as one of the last giants still standing. That reality weighs heavily on fans, who see in him the fading light of a golden era. Each new headline about his health or well-being feels like a reminder that we are nearing the closing chapters of a truly remarkable story. But Willie is not one to embrace sorrow. Instead, he's leaned into resilience. He has continued to record music, tour when possible, and even explore projects that many thought were beyond his years. His collaborations with younger artists have not only kept his music alive, but also introduced his voice to entirely new generations. From duets with contemporary stars to his Grammy-winning albums late in life, Willie continues to prove that his artistry knows no age limit. For his fans, this balance between fragility and strength is both inspiring and heartbreaking. Watching Willie struggle with health while still giving his all on stage creates a bittersweet image. A man unwilling to surrender to time, even as it presses harder against him. He has become a living lesson in resilience, determination, and love for one's craft. As the latest headlines spread, many fans fear the worst, yet at the same time, they admire his refusal to quit. Willie Nelson remains a man defined not by his limitations, but by his ability to rise above them. Yes, the struggles are real, and yes, the years are catching up. But Willie is showing the world that even in the face of decline, true legends never fade quietly. They fight, they sing, and they inspire until their very last note. If there's one thing that Willie Nelson has made clear, it's that music is not just his career, it's his lifeline. For more than 60 years, Willie's songs have carried him through heartbreak, joy, loss, and triumph. And now, even as health concerns and age weigh heavily upon him, it is his music that continues to give him purpose and strength. Fans may have feared that the latest headlines signaled a farewell, but Willie himself insists the stage is still where he belongs. In recent years, Nelson has astonished audiences by continuing to release new albums, each filled with the same heart and authenticity that first made him a star. His 2022 record, A Beautiful Time, earned him yet another Grammy Award, proving that even in his late 80s and early 90s, his voice and songwriting remain unmatched. For many, it was more than just another album. It was a reminder that Nelson's creativity flows as strongly as ever. His ability to connect with listeners through themes of love, regret, resilience, and hope has not diminished with time. In fact, some critics argue that his age has only deepened the emotion behind his music, giving every lyric an added weight. Beyond recording, Willie has made it clear that performing is what truly keeps him alive. His Outlaw Music Festival tour continues to bring him across the country, playing alongside both seasoned country veterans and rising stars. Audiences are struck by his energy even when his voice occasionally falters or his movements slow. To see Willie on stage is to witness a man defying expectations, holding on to the very craft that has defined his existence. He has often said that as long as he can hold his guitar, trigger, and sing to a crowd, he will never stop. This defiance has led many to call Willie Nelson not just a musician, but a symbol of resilience. While most performers his age have long retired, he continues to embrace the road life, sometimes even against his doctor's recommendations. To fans, this shows his deep devotion not just to the music but to the people who have supported him for decades. Every performance feels like a gift, a chance to celebrate his legacy while he is still here to share it. His projects in recent years have also revealed a surprising willingness to experiment and evolve. Nelson has never confined himself strictly to country music. Over the years, he has explored blues, jazz, reggae, and even pop collaborations. Recently, he has teamed up with contemporary artists, bridging the gap between generations and proving that his influence stretches far beyond traditional country boundaries. For example, collaborations with artists like Casey Musgraves and Chris Stapleton have allowed younger audiences to rediscover him, while longtime fans marvel at how seamlessly his style adapts without losing authenticity. But perhaps most surprising has been his continued role as a storyteller for America. His music still touches on timeless themes, family, mortality, love, and freedom, but he has also used his voice to speak out on issues close to his heart. From environmental causes to farmers' struggles, Nelson refuses to remain silent, reminding listeners that music can also be a tool for change. In his later years, this aspect of his career has only grown stronger, cementing him not just as a performer but as an advocate. For fans, the release of each new album or announcement of another tour brings both relief and gratitude. It's a reassurance that Willie is still here, still singing, and still pouring his soul into every lyric. And yet there is always the unspoken acknowledgement that these moments are precious, that each project may be his last. The bittersweet mix of joy and sorrow is felt across his fan base, as people gather to hear a man who has given them a lifetime of music. The latest headlines about Willie Nelson remind us that while time may be catching up to him, his spirit remains untouchable. His refusal to stop recording, performing, and creating is not just about himself. It's about giving fans every ounce of what he has left. Willie Nelson is not done yet, and in many ways, that is the greatest gift he continues to offer. Behind the music, the tours, and the bright lights of the stage, Willie Nelson is still a man who has lived a long, complex, and deeply human life. While fans often see him as the larger-than-life outlaw with a guitar in hand, his personal journey tells a story of friendships cherished, losses endured, and reflections that come only with age. One of the most defining aspects of Willie's life has been the relationships he has built over the years. In the early days of his career, Nelson bonded with fellow musicians who, like him, were determined to break free from the polished, restrictive Nashville sound. Together with Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, and Chris Christopherson, Willie helped pioneer the outlaw country movement. This brotherhood was more than just a professional alliance. It was a family of rebels who supported one another through triumphs and heartbreaks. To this day, fans remember their camaraderie as legendary, a time when country music felt raw and untamed. But as the years passed, many of Willie's closest friends left this world. Waylon Jennings' passing in 2002 was a devastating blow, followed by the deaths of Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, and countless others who had walked the same road. For Willie, each loss was not just the end of a friendship. It was like losing a piece of his own history. He has often spoken about the pain of outliving so many of his peers, admitting that while he is grateful for his long life, it is bittersweet to carry memories that no one else can fully share anymore. In recent years, fans have seen the toll of age on Willie's personal life more clearly. He has dealt with health scares that forced him to cancel tours, and though he always comes back, the sight of him frail at times has been difficult for many to accept. His family has become more involved in his day-to-day life, ensuring he gets the care and support he needs. His children, especially Lucas and Micah, have not only stood by his side but also carried forward his musical legacy, performing alongside him and keeping his spirit alive for future generations. Yet, for all the struggles, Willie has never been one to dwell in sorrow. He is a man who has always leaned on humor, philosophy, and spirituality to carry him through life's darkest moments. A longtime practitioner of martial arts and a firm believer in positive energy, Willie approaches each day as a gift. He has often said that living in the present moment is the secret to his longevity. This attitude has endeared him to fans even more, as it reflects not just the wisdom of a musician, but of a man who has lived fully, made mistakes, and found peace with them. Another side of Willie's personal journey is his role as an advocate. Beyond the stage, he has been deeply involved in causes close to his heart. From his famous Farm Aid concerts, which support struggling farmers, to his outspoken views on social issues, Willie has never shied away from speaking up. Even in his later years, he remains committed to making a difference, using his platform not for self-gain, but for the betterment of others. Still, the emotional toll of age cannot be ignored. Friends gone, health battles endured, and the looming awareness of mortality weigh heavily not only on Willie but also on his fans. Each time a headline surfaces about his health, the world collectively holds its breath, fearing that the end may be near. And yet, time after time, Willie rises, reminding everyone that he is not ready to fade away. In many ways, his personal life mirrors his music, filled with resilience, love, heartbreak, and hope. Willie Nelson is more than a musician. He is a man who has embraced the fullness of life, its beauty, its pain, and its impermanence. As fans reflect on his journey, they see not just a legend, but a human being who has carried the weight of both triumph and tragedy with grace. When the headlines about Willie Nelson's health began to spread, fans around the world braced themselves for the possibility that the end of an era was approaching. But to speak of Willie solely in terms of decline misses the bigger picture. Willie Nelson is not just a country singer. He is an American icon whose influence stretches far beyond music. His legacy is one that continues to grow, even as he faces the twilight of his years. At 90-plus years old, Willie has accomplished more than most artists could dream of. His catalog of songs, from On the Road Again to Always on My Mind, has become part of the very fabric of American culture. These songs are not just hits. They are timeless pieces that generations continue to sing, hum, and find comfort in. Few musicians manage to transcend their genre and become cultural touchstones, but Willie has done exactly that. His voice, with its unmistakable tone, has carried across decades, linking grandparents, parents, and children in a shared appreciation for authenticity. But his legacy isn't limited to his music alone. Willie Nelson represents a spirit of independence and rebellion. The outlaw country movement that he helped pioneer was more than just a musical style. It was a statement of freedom, a refusal to conform to the rigid expectations of Nashville at the time. That same spirit has carried throughout his life as he continuously chose to live on his own terms, whether through his music, his activism, or his personal lifestyle. Fans admire not just his songs, but his unwavering commitment to staying true to himself. Another important part of Willie's legacy is his advocacy. His work with Farm Aid, which began in the mid-1980s alongside Neil Young and John Mellencamp, has raised millions of dollars to support family farmers. This cause remains close to his heart, and it has become one of the defining aspects of his life outside of music. Even now, Willie still participates in these efforts, reminding the world that fame should be used as a tool for good. His willingness to speak out about issues, whether it's the struggles of farmers, environmental concerns, or even his stance on cannabis reform, has made him a voice for the people. He is not just a performer, but a leader who inspires change. The future, however uncertain, is still being written for Willie Nelson. While his health may slow him down at times, he has made it clear that he will continue to sing, tour, and record for as long as he is able. His recent performances prove that he still draws immense crowds, and the love his fans feel for him has only grown stronger with each passing year. The reality is that every show, every new song, feels like a gift, an opportunity to celebrate his life and career while he is still here to share it. Fans also know that Willie's story will not end with his passing. His children, particularly Lucas and Micah, have taken up the torch, carrying on the Nelson name in music with their own successful careers. His influence can also be seen in the countless younger artists who cite him as an inspiration. The threads of his legacy are woven deeply into the fabric of country, rock, and Americana, ensuring that his spirit will live on long after he is gone. As the headlines continue to capture both the struggles and triumphs of Willie Nelson, one truth remains clear: he is not finished. Yes, he has faced hardships, and yes, time is an unstoppable force. But Willie Nelson is a man who has never let obstacles define him. Instead, he has turned them into songs, into causes, into inspiration for millions. His legacy is not just about the past. It is alive in the present and will continue to echo into the future. For fans, the heartbreak of watching their hero age is softened by gratitude. Gratitude for the music, the memories, and the example of a man who has lived life on his own terms. Willie Nelson is proof that while time can take its toll on the body, it can never diminish the impact of a true legend. His story is still being told, and the world continues to listen.